This is the Bucks POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the Milwaukee Bucks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And just like that, the Bucks' 3-game win streak coming to a screeching halt as they lose to the Toronto Raptors this afternoon in downtown Milwaukee by a final score of 122-94. Hello, everyone. Welcome into the Locked On Bucks postcast. I'm your host. My name is Brandon Sneide. You can follow me over on X at Brandon_Sneide. No Butchie today. Butchie's still on assignment. He'll be back on Tuesday night. A tough one for the Bucks. We'll break that down. We'll talk about the turning point in this game, the Locked On Bucks postcast player of the game. And the Bucks did lose. I'm sure some of you has some frustration, some thoughts you want to get out on the program today. We'd love to hear from you as well. Drop your thoughts into the live chat as we are live over on YouTube. Also, friendly reminder, wherever you guys get audio podcasts, you can now listen to the Locked On Bucks postcast as well. We're over there on Amazon, Google, Spotify, wherever you get them. You can find Locked On Bucks audio podcast as well as over on YouTube. We're live right now over on YouTube. We are available to watch the videos over on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that thumbs up on our videos. Make sure you hit that notification bell. Get notified when we go live, as we are live right now talking about a 122-94 loss for the Bucks. And it really is simple for me on this one for the Milwaukee Bucks. It comes down to about 3 things today that really determined the loss for the Bucks. And we'll dive in a little bit more in detail with the turning point. And I'm sure a lot of you will have some thoughts and opinions on this one. And we'll definitely get to it as the Bucks' 3-game win streak comes to an end with the loss today. Again, no Giannis for the Bucks, still nursing that calf strain. The good news, though, for the Bucks is he had Miles Turner return from the calf strain. I think I talked about on Friday that that's kind of like a sneaky injury. You don't want something to linger into the second half, the last month and a half or so for the Bucks, but you did get Miles Turner back today. He had 14 points in 25 minutes. But the big thing for me, the 3-point shooting today for the Toronto Raptors, that was kind of the difference in this one. And it started off really good. If you're a Milwaukee Bucks fan, it started off really good. 0 for 11. Toronto started off from 3. They finished making 16 of their next 46, and the Bucks could just never get going. 9 of 32 today were the Milwaukee Bucks from 3-point range. That's bullet point number 1 for me and the determining factor in the Bucks 122-94 loss. And it's another one. We'll go to bullet point number 2 that continues to be an issue for the Bucks, and they've over doubled up the Toronto Raptors, in not a good category, in turnovers. Again, it's been an issue for the Bucks all season long. When this team, again, it's basic, fundamental basketball things with this Bucks team, right? Get your shots up, okay? AJ Green, Kyle Kuzma today combined 6 points in the starting lineup for your Milwaukee Bucks. Kyle Kuzma didn't score till the third quarter. AJ Green got off to a good start. He made his first 3-point attempt, and that was it from AJ Green. And I'm sure a lot of you will have thoughts on AJ Green. Would love to dive into your thoughts. Again, I called him out on Friday. Some of you guys said I was unprofessional in doing so. I need more from AJ Green in 26 minutes and getting 3 points. I just need more. It's not a knock on the person or the player. I just need more. The Bucks need more. I need more scoring. Kyle Kuzma, same boat. I need more. I know you only played 18 minutes. I need more than 3 points. So the Bucks just not getting scoring from their starting rotation. The Bucks not getting scoring from their bench. Cam Thomas, the only guy in double figures for the Bucks off the bench today with 15 points in 21 minutes. Bobby Portis 6 in 18. The bench was a big part of it. But back to my point number 2 as the Bucks lose this one 122-94. The turnovers, man. The turnovers. Once again, 19 turnovers for the Bucks. The Toronto Raptors only turning it over 8 times. I mean, that right there is going to be a big difference in a game where you know what the Toronto Raptors do, right? Defensively, they're very, very sound. You cannot turn this ball over. Defense creates offense. We've seen it today for the Toronto Raptors. The Bucks just turning it over way too many times, obviously not shooting the ball well either. And rebounding wasn't, like, if you look at the box score, okay, the Bucks, not bad. It wasn't terrible offensive rebounds, 14 to 13 for the Bucks. So they didn't really necessarily lose the battle offensive, when it comes to the rebounding category. It's just when they lost those rebounds, those 14 offensive rebounds, it felt like in moments it just came at the absolute worst time. And that was the difference. I think those 3 points I made. Obviously the Raptors out shooting the Bucks from 3. Again, 16 to 46, not great if you look at it on the surface, but when you shoot and you miss your first 11 and then you rattle off 16 of your next, what would that be? 35 shots. Like, that's going to be the difference in the ball game. And it felt like the Bucks were getting a little lucky early in this game. Toronto missing some good looks. Both teams really, quite frankly, had good looks from 3, but Toronto obviously being able to find their shooting stroke later in this one, and the Bucks just couldn't get it done. And the other thing that we sort of touched on a little bit was the bench scoring between these two teams. I mean, the Bucks just couldn't get anything going from Bobby Portis, Pete Nance, only a couple of points. Ousmane Dieng, and a lot of frustration towards Doc Rivers, and fully understand all of it, because today was another one of those moments. Now, Ousmane Dieng played 15 minutes in the box score, but really he played probably 8 to 10 actual competitive minutes when this game wasn't out of reach for the Milwaukee Bucks. I didn't understand that. Again, I didn't understand necessarily his minutes from on Friday night either. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head how many minutes he had on Friday night. I think it was right around the 20 mark as well, but I would have liked to have seen a little bit more out of Ousmane Dieng tonight. Cam Thomas, your only bright spot off of the bench for the Milwaukee Bucks. I mentioned it before, the 15 points in 21 minutes, 5 and 9 from the field. And that was really your only spark, offensively speaking, off of the bench. Well, it was your only spark off of the bench for the Milwaukee Bucks. Bobby Portis, 6 and 18, just going to need more from Bobby. Again, when Bobby Portis, AJ Green, and Kyle Kuzma combine for 12 points, with no Giannis, it's not a recipe for success for the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, you want to talk about a bright spot? Ryan Rollins, I thought tonight was fantastic. I got a little bit of grief in the live YouTube chat when I didn't mention Ryan Rollins as my Locked On Bucks postcast player of the game on Friday. He got the honorable mentions. Cam Thomas with a big night Friday night got the honors. But Kevin Porter Jr., Ryan Rollins, again, when they are attacking, it's a different offense for the Milwaukee Bucks. Today, Toronto was pressuring the guards from start to finish in this one. Bucks weren't creating outlets for anybody. Their offense wasn't moving the ball. It got stale, not getting up good enough shots for the Milwaukee Bucks. And again, when you don't hit your threes, it's a make or miss league. I know it's a cliche saying when it comes to the NBA, but it really comes down to making and missing your shots. And tonight, the Raptors started 0 from 11 from 3-point range, and they finished 16 of 46. So they would go 16 for 35 after that 0 for 11 start. And it really comes down to just that. I mean, just getting enough from their bench. Did Toronto, they outscored the Bucks on the bench by a good number, but it wasn't the difference, I think, overall in this one. The Bucks just couldn't get comfortable on offense. Nothing was smooth for the Bucks. A big response in that third quarter from the Bucks when they went to half down 9 points. There was a great response from the Bucks. We'll get into the turning point, but then Toronto would quickly respond after that. And again, when you turn the ball over 19 times to their 8, and you're not hitting shots, that's going to be it. And that's what did in the Milwaukee Bucks as they fall 122-94. Now 24 and 31 on the season are the Bucks. Off day on Monday. They'll get back to it on Tuesday. But before we get into all of that, what's coming up for the Bucks, we're going to dive into your thoughts, your reactions, and yes, your frustrations on the Locked On Bucks postcast. We'll also get into the turning point and the Locked On Bucks postcast player of the game coming up right after this. Tonight's Locked On Bucks postcast is brought to you by Prize Picks. Shoot your shot on Prize Picks and get $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. That's right. Prize Picks is giving you $50 in lineups when you sign up and play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks makes every dunk, every dime, and every board that much more exciting. It's America's #1 app for sports picks. And it's easy to play. You just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. And if your picks are right, you cash in. You can choose from basketball, baseball, hockey, soccer, UFC, and more. Plus, they got features like early payouts and flex play, so you keep your options while the games are still happening. And it's available in all 50 states, so it's easy for just about anyone to jump in and have some fun. Download the PrizePick app today and use code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. Ever wanted to experience the NBA Finals live and in person? Well, now you can. FanDuel is giving you the chance to turn that dream into reality with their NBA sweepstakes. Here's how it works. Use your profit boost on any NBA future, and you'll be automatically entered for a shot to win an NBA Finals trip for 2. That's right. The flights, the tickets, the whole experience, all included. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Use your profit boost on an NBA future and get entered for your chance to win a trip to the NBA Finals. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Once again, visit FanDuel.com right now to get started. And lastly, tonight's show is brought to you by TurboTax. Tax season doesn't have to take over your life. This year, TurboTax is making it easier than ever to just hand things off and move about your day. With TurboTax full service, you can have your taxes done for you by a trusted expert start to finish without the stress or the guesswork. Instead of spending hours and hours trying to figure out what forms you need, you can meet with a local TurboTax expert in person or connect online. They handle everything from those W-2s to self-employed forms and get to work you every deduction possible. For a limited time, you can have your taxes done by a local TurboTax expert for just $150 all in. If a TurboTax expert didn't file for you last year, just make sure you file by February 28th. Take taxes off your plate and get back to your life. Visit TurboTax.com/local. Once again, TurboTax.com/local to book your appointment today. Tough one for the Milwaukee Bucks as they fall at home to Toronto, 122-94. When did this one turn against the Bucks? Let's dive into our turning point in the Bucks 122-94 loss.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
For me, the Bucks started off in this one, a strong first quarter, 27 points for the Milwaukee Bucks in that first quarter. They would have a 5-point lead going into the second quarter, and that's when the screws would come loose today for Milwaukee, being outscored 38-24 in that second quarter, and they would go into halftime down 60-51, and this is really when the turning point for me kind of kicks in for the Bucks. Now they come out of that half with a little bit of life, an 8-2 run. Kyle Kuzma would score his first points of the game, his only points of the game in that little run for the Bucks. So an 8-2 run early in that third quarter for the Milwaukee Bucks. It would cut that lead down to 3. And then you're thinking, at least I'm thinking to myself, okay, you got it within single digits. You're right there. You were down 11. You know, you being able to crawl back into this one. The home crowd, you got a lot of these players playing in front of the home crowd for the first time since they were traded for. Like, things are okay. Like, let's get something going here. Let's get a little bit of momentum, and that's certainly what the Bucks had. They would force a Toronto timeout early in that third quarter after going on that 8-2 run. And then, well, that was pretty much it for the Bucks in this one, certainly in that quarter and really in the second half. Toronto would respond to that 8-2 run that the Bucks had with a 10-0 run of their own in that middle-ish portion of the third quarter, and that would really be about it. They would outscore the Bucks, obviously, by 10 in the third quarter and by 9 in the fourth quarter. So that one right there was my turning point in the Bucks 122-94 loss. When they had it within 3, that was the moment. That was kind of the make or break moment where this game could potentially turn in favor of the Bucks. Unfortunately, it did not turn in favor as they fall 122-94. The Bucks lose. Their 3-game win streak comes to an end. Let's hand out our honors for the Locked On Bucks POSTCAST Player of the Game.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
Want to start on the home side of things. The Bucks they're not going to get Locked On Bucks postcast as the player of the game, but there are some mentions, and I kind of mentioned them already. Kevin Porter Jr., 8 of 11 tonight from the field, 21 points. I want to give KPJ a shout out in this one. Also had 10 assists. So a fantastic night for Kevin Porter Jr. Ryan Rounds, already sort of mentioned him, 21 points in 33 minutes. Also had 9 rebounds for the Bucks. Kind of mentioned rebounds being a little bit of the Bucks' Achilles heel throughout the course of the season. Not necessarily a ton difference today. Now, I don't think the rebounds will tell the full story. I thought there were moments where the Bucks just allowed those second and third chance opportunities, and it just killed any of the momentum they potentially had building up. And certainly we mentioned it in the third quarter there, where the turning point of the game was, and giving up extra attempts at getting a bucket, and that's kind of what did in the Bucks in that third quarter. So the rebounds won't tell a difference. But hey, I mean, 21 points, 9 rebounds from Ryan Rollins, 21 points, 10 assists from Kevin Porter Jr., 8 of 11 from Kevin Porter Jr. from the field. Both of those guys getting my Locked On Bucks postcast honorable mention, but unfortunately the Bucks do lose. Emmanuel Quickly for the Toronto Raptors, guy that's been in the league for a bit. No, you know who he is. You know the game he has. 32 points in 31 minutes tonight. And man, was he 5 of 11 from 3-point range today. I mean, that was just quite the game. There was a couple of times, certainly in that third quarter, where the Bucks were kind of on a bit of a run, or at least trying to close things in. And it just he quickly shut that down as the Bucks fall 122-94. So he'll get the honors on the Locked On Bucks postcast player of the game. And unfortunately, no Bucks getting the honors today as they fall. But as we mentioned, Ryan Rollins, Kevin Porter Jr., fantastic. Cam Thomas also had a good night off of the bench. Let's get in. We got a couple of minutes. Let's get in your thoughts, your reaction, your frustrations as I'm sensing on the live chat. WB over on YouTube says this team cannot be trusted to make a push for the playoffs. That win streak was just false hope. I don't think so. I'm not there. No, it's a bad loss. Like, it's a game. Look, Toronto's a good team, right? They didn't have Scotty Barnes in this one. I forgot to mention that at the beginning of the show. Obviously, the Bucks didn't have Giannis, so the Toronto Raptors not having one of their better players going into this one, you thought, okay, it's a good chance for the Bucks to get back in front of the home crowd. You got 9 prior to today. You had 9 of your next 10 in front of the home crowd. If you could get off to a good start, they did, right? You're up 5 going into that second quarter, but too many turnovers, not enough scoring off of the bench for the Milwaukee Bucks. I still believe that this team can make a push for the playoffs. Call it false hope. Call me, unrealistic optimist, however you want to call it. I do believe that this team has a chance to make a push. I do believe that they have this team to make a push. So I again, it's a bad loss. There's no doubt about it. But I do believe that this Milwaukee Bucks team, again, when you get Giannis back, I do believe that there's an opportunity for this team to kind of find it and have some fun along the way. And again, being able to play their brand of basketball that we just haven't been able to see all year. Now, call that brand whatever you want to call it, when you just don't have Giannis for what? He's played in 30 games of the season right now. And the Bucks, let me do the quick math in my head, 55 games into the season. So he's missed almost half of the season for the Bucks so far. Like, they just haven't been able to play their brand of basketball. That's the frustrating thing about it. Mike over on YouTube, Green and Kuzma should not be starting. I would love to have Toronto's coach instead of Quack Rivers. It means Doc Rivers. Green again. Like, I got called unprofessional. I'm not sure exactly why, but I don't really understand. I don't understand his role, and I'm not sure if he understands his role. I do need more from AJ Green. Like, I'm not necessarily calling out the person. I'm just calling out what I'm seeing. 3 points in 26 minutes. He didn't score Friday in 30 minutes. Like, I just need more. 1 of 6 from the field, 1 from 4 from 3-point range. Like, shots not falling. He got off to, he hit his first shot. Okay, maybe he's going to find it. I'm not trying to call out. I love AJ Green. I absolutely love AJ Green. I'm not calling him out in a personal way. I need more. If you're going, Kyle Kuzma's in the same boat. I need more than 3 points. And I only played 18 minutes, but I just need more. I would have loved to seeing Ousmane Dieng have more opportunity in this, some real run in this one. I would love to have a little bit more Ousmane Dieng in this one, but we didn't see it. Got another comment here when it comes to the Milwaukee Bucks and then potentially playoffs, saying we can't win if we don't play winning basketball. Yeah, and today was not winning basketball. You can't turn over the ball 19 times to this team. I understand Toronto's a really good defensive team, but you just can't turn the ball over 11 more times than they do and expect to come out victorious. Now, when the Bucks had won 6 of their last 7, including 3 straight, they were rebounding the basketball. Their assist numbers too. I didn't really mention their assists. I'm gonna pull up their numbers here for the team assists. You guys, this is this is where I should have mentioned this at the beginning of the show because I wrote it down. Okay, you turn over the ball 19 times. Toronto Raptor only turned it over 8. Okay, that's one story of it, one part of the story. Bench scoring, another part of the story. We talked about that. 34 assists for the Toronto Raptors, 18 for the Bucks, you guys. 18 assists on the night for the Bucks. Kevin Porter Jr. had 10 of them. That means 8 assists for the rest of the team outside of Kevin Porter Jr. I mean, I don't really know. I'm just shaking my head. I can't really. I mean, that's it. I mean, again, it goes back to the basic fundamental of basketball. Like we're not reinventing the wheel, right? You got to hit your shots. That goes without saying. But you can't turn the ball over. You got to rebound the ball and you got to move the rock. The Bucks didn't check any of those blocks today. And that's what happens when you lose, and you lose by 28 points as the Bucks did. Very, very frustrating day for the Milwaukee Bucks. No bench scoring, as we mentioned, either. Cam Thomas, the only guy in double digits for the Bucks off the bench. And that's it right there. That's it right there. Get to a couple more of your comments. We got a few more minutes here. We can go. Triple V over on YouTube says, calling out AJ Green and Ryan Rollins, like Ryan Rollins, but no way he is orchestrating the O, as well as Kevin Porter Jr. The podcasters, however, seem biased towards Ryan Rollins and AJ Green. Green needs Giannis to be effective and is not starting to otherwise. I agree with the second half of that. I agree with he does need Giannis, and he is much better with Giannis. I've been harsh on AJ Green. I love what I've seen out of Ryan Rollins. I know, like, he's at the end of the year, could be on a historic mark for the Bucks between his point increase from last year to this year. I understand the frustration with Ryan Rollins, but again, I don't know if today is necessarily the one I'm going to use out on Ryan Rollins. We have 21 and 9 points, and the fact that the Bucks couldn't get anything else going outside of Ryan Rollins and Kevin Porter Jr. I'm not going to deflect my anger to Ryan Rollins. I understand at times you want him to pass the ball and be a little bit more sharing of the rock and creating those opportunities for other players. I mean, obviously Kevin Porter Jr. is a good example of that with 21 and 10 assists, but I do think Ryan Rollins deserves a little bit more leeway, a little bit more of a cushion when it comes to the criticism. And I get it. 21 points on 17 shots. Yeah, not great, but at least he's getting the shots up. And that's a difference. Like AJ Green's in there to shoot the ball. I need AJ Green to shoot the ball. 4 attempts from 3 in 26 minutes, just 4 attempts on Friday in 30 minutes. That's just right. That's right there where my issue is. And I understand that all Bucks fans are not satisfied all the time with Ryan Rollins, but defensively, Ryan Rollins is a beast. Offensively, is there going to be some inconsistencies? Sure. But again, 21 points. He's tied for the leading scorer today for the Bucks, albeit on 17 shots. Again, take them, make them, don't make them. At least we're getting them off, but just not enough today. Not enough offense today for the Milwaukee Bucks. They fall 122-94. That'll do it for today's Locked On Bucks postcast. We'll be back at it on Tuesday. The schedule getting tougher for the Bucks. Boy, is it getting tougher. We knew how important it was winning 6 out of those 7 games. They'll have the Miami Heat on Tuesday. The New York Knicks also coming into town later on in this week. So the schedule definitely going to get tougher for the Bucks, but you like that. We'll see what they're made about, right? We're all in good vibes during, that 3-game win streak when they won 6 out of the last 7. We'll see what this team is made of certainly this week. Thank you guys for making Locked On Bucks part of your day each and every day. I said it at the beginning of the show, but just a friendly reminder, wherever you guys get audio podcasts, you can listen to the Locked On Bucks postcast. Anything you missed on the show, you can find out on the podcast, wherever you get them. Apple, Google, Spotify, Amazon, they're all over. as well as over on YouTube, where we're live right now. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. I know the Bucks lost, but just hit the thumbs up button for me on the video if you could. If you're not already, make sure you hit that notification bell. Get notified when the Locked On Bucks YouTube channel goes notified. Again, no Butcher today. He'll be back on Tuesday. You got Justin Garcia, Camille Davis all week long on The Daily Show. This is just the immediate reaction post-game show. So we'll do it again on Tuesday. Hopefully the Bucks can get back into the win column starting on Tuesday against the Miami Heat. Until then, thanks for listening. Thanks for being a part of the show. And as always, win or lose, make sure you stay locked on Bucks.